When it comes to the world of hip-hop, there are many levels of artists and music that is known and unknown. Today, or tonight, I'm going to send you down to a level that is not super known by most, but may or may not be familiar with you depending on how much rap/hip-hop media you consume. This is a continuation of my underground rap Iceberg series, and these videos take quite a while to make. All I ask is that you leave a like on the video, and comment what else you want to see, and drink water. No Patrick CC. Fair warning, these are the artists where you have to do some super digging to really find information on them, so forgive me if there's something I may leave out while I go through these guys. Pause. Starting off with my absolute favorite from tier 5, Lil Ugly Mane. Absolutely a legend that probably a lot of people don't really remember too well. Don't worry, I'm gonna remind you. Lil Ugly Mane, born in Richmond, Virginia, was a high school dropout, which wouldn't stop him from becoming one of the earliest variations of an underground artist that brought something completely new to the table. He started out experimenting with black metal, industrial, and noise music, which most of the music from those times by him is just lost media at this point, but some of it actually would later be re-released. I'm leaving out a lot because I have to skip to the meat and potatoes, honestly, but in the mid-2000s, he changed his name from Travis to Young Gus and began making hip-hop music. He also used the name Sean Kemp for his producing alias, which he did until he retired. After he left the group Chocolate Milk, he would change his name again to Lil Ugly Mane and began to rise because of his earlier work with Raider Clan. His music is heavily inspired by 3 6 Mafia, A Tribe Called Quest, and KMB, just to name a few. In February 2011, he released his debut mixtape, Play a Circle, and it has that early Memphis revival type of vibe to it that would be a key factor in future work he would make. In 2012, he released his debut album, Mr. Thug Isolation. And when I tell y'all this was getting bumped by me, man, every song on it was produced by Lil Ugly Mane, and this went on and become one of the most critically acclaimed albums of the 2010s, which is crazy because he's still not that popular to this day. Today, it's not known what he's actually doing, but he did officially retire in 2015. If you're a true underground rap fan, you know the weight of his legacy in this scene. The craziest thing about Omen 13 is that I've been listening to this dude since 2016 and his music is still so timeless. Born in Ohio, Omen 13 began dropping music and producing back in 2015, dropping music videos on Trill Funk and Astari, which, if you've been into this type of music for a long time, you've definitely probably seen these channels at one point before. Growing up for him was not that easy as he was adopted as a child.
But one day I was like, hey, I was like, how come we have different last names, Dad?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How come I got a different last name than you and Mom? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and he's like, oh, you're named after your grandpa, which wasn't a lie. You know what I'm saying? But he was trying to, and I can understand he was trying to protect me in certain ways. He was trying to, you know, not make me feel distant. He was trying to, you know what I'm saying? So I respect that, I appreciate that.
That would definitely be a very difficult time for him. It's shown in his music because his music is very emotional, and very early on he was associated with Lil Peep as he messaged him on SoundCloud, and they were both very small artists at that time. They got super close and Omen ended up visiting the Super House in Pasadena with other creators such as Lil Peep, Brennan, Craig Zen, Jay Green, Fishnark, Wavy Jones, Young Goth, Laderick, and Nedarb, and many other people like that. A lot of people lived in that house and it was very legendary for the time that it was around. His music is very close to the style of Bones, where it would be considered emo rap, but he still has that crazy versatility that sets him apart from his peers. In recent years, he's kind of slowed down on dropping as much as he used to, but he's still a very talented artist. Side note, I have merch that I bought from him like over 6 years ago, so if you see this Omen, just know I'm a real one. So this is weird because Death Grips isn't necessarily underground rap, but to be fair, MC Ride does technically rap if you listen to Death Grips. You need to come to terms with the fact that you're way too deep in. These guys are pretty hard to explain to the average person, but long story short, this is an extremely experimental rap group that consists of MC Ride, Zach Hill, and Andy Morin. This group doesn't necessarily make one genre of music but multiple. While MC Ride does have a rhyme pattern sometimes, in the music, the delivery is just something else. The way he raps is just going to immediately turn off closed-minded people, as a lot of the times he has a very harsh way about delivering his music and he's screaming a lot of the time, but at the same time, it's incredible. The beats that MC Ride raps on are like otherworldly, like you do not feel like you're on the same planet as the people who made this. Everything about Death Grips is experimental, down to the album covers, the music videos, the titles of the songs, everything. I mean, they literally used a picture of one of the members' shaft as their album cover and had to basically censor it, putting a black bar over it in order to actually get any streaming services to show the cover. These guys create anything they want to create. Just listen to this song. I mean, these guys are insane. Their live shows are actually really wild too. I mean, like, they throw people in the crowd, they destroy their own equipment. Side note, they collaborated with Bjork and they've been featured in Adidas commercials, BoJack Horseman, and the TV show Atlanta. They're really insane, but you really will have to open your mind if you like want to get into them, but I love them. Lil Soulja Boy is an artist from Seattle, Washington that has been making music for about 9 years. He's deleted and re-uploaded numerous amounts of music, so there's really no real head point for when he started. His music is interesting. I knew these lower tiers were going to be so hard because these guys have no real information about them online, so I'm kind of just going off of what I already know. Lil Soulja Boy uses extreme auto-tune to like the absolute maximum level, but he still makes it sound somewhat good and unique. He moved to LA when he was 18 and he worked closely with rappers like Lil Cyberspace and Lil Aaron. I'm gonna kind of violate him right here and just say he kind of fell off and his music didn't really age that well, and there's really weird stuff surrounding his name, so we're moving on.
I don't know if I have a reason to keep going.
Doom Shop is a collective combined with Six Set, which is another small collective that was just a neighborhood small gang. I'm not even going to discuss Freddie Dredd here because TikTok made him super popular, so he's really not even underground anymore in my opinion. Pretty much the first person to start rapping in Doom Shop was Cursed back in 2012. This is back when SoundCloud wasn't really that big yet, so just keep that in your head. Cursed was working very closely with Raider Clan, which led other people to join Doom Shop and start rapping and get a buzz around their name. I'm going to speed run the current and former members real quick before I get any deeper. We have Cursed, The Menace, DJ Akoza, DJ Fat Joint, DJ JT, Drag, Freddie Dredd, Jake, Lil Kane, MC Hollow, You Know What, Ned Bundy, Occult, Soul Zay, and Young Demise. These guys are super heavily inspired by old Memphis gangster rap, old G-Funk, and old Detroit music. These guys made their way up partaking in that funk wave that was super heavy on SoundCloud between 2013 to like 2017. I'm not gonna get into all the beef because oh my god, there's just so much of it, but either way, it's clear that Memphis type hip hop will never die as long as it keeps changing with stranger and stranger online forms. These guys are the real pavers in the underground for Memphis rap. Playa Misery is a rapper from, oh wow, look, Birmingham, Alabama.
And you're from
Birmingham,
Alabama. Shout out Alabama, man.
Fuck Alabama.
No, okay, so fuck Alabama, actually.
Y'all trash.
Trash state.
That's why I left y'all niggas.
Which is where I currently live, and it is terrible. The absolute worst place to live, trust me. I could do a whole video on that. Playa Misery is a part of that funk trend that takes extreme inspiration from old Memphis funk rap, which by the way, the whole wave was killed by TikTok. Don't get me wrong, this dude was on it way before all that, but TikTok definitely ruined it and destroyed it. He's a current member of Doom Shop, and he actually used to go by the name MC Hollow, You Know What, but was forced to change that name for obvious reasons. Not too much is known about him personally, but from what I gathered, he hates SB for whatever reason. Either way, I'm not really into this type of music anymore, but from like 2014 to 2017, it was pretty cool at the time, and he was definitely one of the biggest names in it. Where do I begin with this legend? Real name Mario Smith, aka Cartier God, is from Athens, Georgia, who, if you're this deep into the underground, you know is an absolute legendary artist, literally coining the phrase drip all the way back in 2010 when Soulja Boy, Cartier God, and other artists were all in a group called Ocean Gang.
I had a gang called Ocean Gang. You dig what I'm saying? Shout out my nigga Cartier God. Shout out my nigga Truly Bass. Shout out my nigga A-Golf. Shout out to the whole Ocean Gang, the original old God, Ocean Gang of Drown. You dig what I'm saying? And we had, you know what I'm saying, the ad-libs, we say splash, drip, because everything is ocean, everything you in the ocean, you in the water, you know?
I mean, this man even called himself a vamp in 2013. This dude is just super ahead of his time. He began making music in 2006, inspired by old school artists like Outkast, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, things of that nature. And in 2010, he would work with Lil B and Soulja Boy, which were two of his biggest inspirations, and you can tell that he was just ahead of his time, like I said. People started biting him without even realizing it by using the terms drip or splash, as for a long time, his theme in music music has always been the ocean, and he used terms like that prominently. He was also associated with RCB, but we all know how that went, and to this day he still makes good music and is just so ahead of his time. You definitely have to go into his music with an open mind though, because sometimes he be moaning. Troy Norton, aka T-San, is an artist that was born in Atlanta, Georgia, who was not well known yet, even though he is signed. The crazy thing about this dude though is that his music videos are so fire. Like, the music itself is fire. After he taught himself how to play piano and other instruments, he was inspired by Uzi, Cardi, and Travis Scott to make his own music, and he's been on a steady rise ever since. The kind of music he makes is like yeet type music, I'd just say. It's like pretty hype. I've actually used some of his songs on my channel because I'm genuinely like a fan of his music. Not too much is known about him, but I'm just kind of looking forward to what else he has planned because he's gas. It was so hard to find like reputable information on this dude. 2 Chainz is an artist from California who is currently in prison for a charge, but because he's so valiant and determined, to this day he still uploads music by recording his verses from a jail phone.
So to record, I called the homie Cellar Souls, and he sets up his mic and whatever, his little setup, and he takes his phone and puts it to the mic. And we record with I don't record over no beat. I record acapella. And I just spit my verses.
When he dropped out of school, he made music with his friends, taking it seriously in freshman year. He was a member of the disbanded collective Jewel Set, which we'll get into later, and people do credit that what happened with 2 Chainz is actually the reason everything kind of fell apart, but I'm not really gonna sit here and stamp that. That's just what I read on Reddit. 2 Chainz definitely makes what we would consider sigilcore, but I think his music is just a little darker when you understand the story behind it, which I'm not going to get into here. If you want to know more, just look it up. Either way, he's goated, and it's definitely free 2 Chainz regardless of what happened. Main Attractions is a hip-hop duo that if you're really tapped into the underground, you know these guys could be on the Mount Rushmore of like cloud rap, up there with like Young Lean and shit like that. Consisting of Mondre, MAN, and Squatta B, these two met in middle school and began making music all the way back in 2009. Inspiration to these guys consisted of Jim Jones, East Coast music, and Kanye West. These things inspired their lyricism all the way down to their beat selection and the way they would sample things in their music. They would go on to work with Raider Clan, A$AP Rocky, and one of the best producers of all time, Clams Casino, all the way back in 2011. I think there's more to these guys than just the subgenre of cloud rap though. These guys move past the traditional level of just being underground cloud rap artists because their boundaries seem to have no real limit, as in they do this for the love of the music and they always genre bend, and their insane melodies really showcase it. These guys don't drop as much nowadays, but they solidified themselves already as the true creators of cloud rap, and the feeling attached to their music is something you should definitely check out for yourself. I love these guys. KP is an artist from New Jersey. Under the moniker Kingpin, he began making music because of little things that happened in his early childhood, like being babysat by Old Dirty Bastard. He would also write poetry, watch rappers on YouTube do battle rap, and do little things like making covers on songs, which then led to him finding beats and making his own songs. He was recruited in the Midnight Society in 2016 by Kamiata after 2 shows in LA with them. He went on to travel to Japan and perform his shows with Midnight and has represented that group for almost 7 years at this point. He doesn't seem to drop too much nowadays, but at one point he was definitely for sure on top of the game with super bangers like Never That, and KP is just a huge part of the underground, so shouts out to him.
Blood Money Boy.
Black Sin is an extremely slept on artist from Los Angeles, California that has been working so hard since 2014. Starting out as just a producer, he would make extremely genre-bending beats with really good synths and crazy samples. He says his biggest inspiration is Lex Luger, and with his style, he ended up producing for Night Lavelle. They actually even ended up having a song together because he was such a big fan of him. He began rapping in 2014 because, quote, "all these rap niggas are trash, and imagine if I was a raw-ass rapper and producer," unquote. Black Sand is a huge trendsetter for the trap metal scene, and he's been combining these two genres perfectly for a long time. While he was never an official member, he was associated with Midnight Society as well. He says that as a black man that has fully evolved into a metal artist, he's had some pushback from the metal community, but either way, he's great and he's a legend. Jug Nino is a crazy artist from Seattle that began making music at just the age of 14 and has been going for about 5 years now. He says he listened to a lot of Lil Shorty and Doo-Wop Kane and began to create his own music. His style is what some fans will call Sigilcore / dark trap with entrancing lyrics and crazy delivery. On the topic of Sigilcore, I actually asked him myself what he thought about that whole terminology for the genre, and he and I both agreed it's corny. He says it was just a title in one of Lucifer's songs, and the community just ran with that title and created like a whole subgenre for just how they use FL Studio and how they mix. It's crazy because that really just goes to show how far Lucifer's reach on SoundCloud actually is. Dude created a whole genre. Jug Nino also says his favorite part about creating is when the supporters actually catch the bars he's saying, so when you listen to his music, you should actually try and peep the lyricism. His personal message to his supporters is that if you want to do something, then do it. You won't get anything done just sitting on your ass thinking about it. If you want to get into his music, I really recommend it. He's crazy, and there are a few songs you should definitely check out, which I'm going to put on the screen right now. And shout out to him for actually giving me some information about him, because there was nothing on the internet about who he was. Hey Mylan is an artist that began making music in 2017, which, believe it or not, he started out listening to Summers and Autumn, which got him into making more music. His music is extremely experimental, as where he usually raps on like half-step type beats that are like otherworldly, and his delivery is usually like unintelligible. Now, just because that's the case doesn't mean it's bad by any means. I actually listen to this man's music a lot, and it's crazy as hell. I discovered his music through TikTok, I'm not gonna lie, but what makes him good is just that I've never heard anything like it at all. TikTok was pushing his stuff everywhere, as he had a really viral song on TikTok, which now almost has 85,000 plays. Either way, he's an amazing artist, and he's so young for the creative talent that he has, and I'm excited to see where he's going with it. 93 Feet of Smoke is an artist that has been making music since 2015 and has been continuous in his craft since then. He's originally from Richmond, Virginia, and not too much is known about his personal life other than that. He is a part of that really early dark / emo rap wave that was happening that had a really strong pull and peaked in 2018. He worked with artists like Fatse, Lil Lotus, and Shinigami. Now, if you're really an OG, you'll know what type of music I'm talking about. He's still making music to this day though, and shout out to him because I've been listening to him for a couple of years now, and he's been rising ever since. Club Pink is a relatively new collective that does sigilcore type music. I mean, going through all of the members' music, it's kind of clear what sound they're going for, and I'm not knocking it, I'm just kind of saying the obvious here. Some of it's cool, but like, they just need to be more original. I know TikTok has this inevitable wave effect, but on music, can we just agree though that we need to slow this type of music down? Hex Cult is literally the same thing. Meat Computer is a rapper, producer, and digital artist from Canada who's known for his unique and experimental sound. He started releasing music under the alias Earthboy in 2017, and back then he kind of had more of a shoegaze / indie style. He would keep going with this pitch down style until early 2020 when he changed his name to Meat Computer and began rapping in an extremely high-pitched voice over some really experimental production. He got bigger in the underground in 2020 when his song Sold Out was featured on the popular YouTube channel Hive Mind, with other established artists like Capo, Oaf1, and It's Okay to Cry started taking notice of him. Since 2020, Meat Computer has released several projects, some of the most notable ones being Soundtrack to the End of a World, Social Distancing from Reality, Goot Computer, and Still Social Distancing from Reality. Overall, he's pretty cool, and I enjoy his music. Jewel Set is a collective created by Lucifer back in 2019 that I would say is the original start of the, oh my god, sigilcore wave. I mean, Buddy was doing it first and everyone kind of copied it and delved into their own styles with it, but this is where I would just possibly say that originated from. Members of this collective consisted of Lucifer, 2 Chainz, Zero, I Slur When I Talk, Hermes, and Cell of Souls. There's pretty limited info on these guys, so sorry if I left anyone out. For this, I'm really just kind of going off of what I know. There's like a lot of niche information that the average person wouldn't really care about that I'm gonna have to leave out, but this group has been disbanded for a while due to a number of issues between the members and other collectives like Flex Cult, I think is their name. I really gotta fact check this stuff, you know? This really just goes to show you how deep the underground music scene is. Like, there's so much I could go on about if I went more in depth, but we gotta keep it moving. So that's gonna do it for the 5th and 6th tier of the underground rap iceberg. I know this one's kind of short and I do apologize about that, but you know, it's just kind of getting lower and lower to the point where there's less people to really talk about, and it's really hard to find information on these guys. If you made it this far in, I really just want to say thank you, and it actually genuinely means a lot for me, and I love all of y'all. I got more content for y'all coming soon, and that's gonna do it. Later.